In today's video, we're going to be looking at the Gold Atlas EA by Mr. Jimmy Peter Erickson. So Jimmy here has put out a few other bots which are well liked and well used by members of the community. We have many customers in common, so when he decided to make this new bot, I was really curious as to what he's come up with. And this one in particular is also trading gold, and it seems to be using a very classic trend following style system on gold, which I have personally seen work really well. At the same time, we know that many of the most successful developers in the MQL5 marketplace, think WIM, also use more like higher risk reward breakout systems on gold too. And it just generally works well with this style of asset because you can have a lot of volatility and upward trends. So looking forward to actually diving in to see like how specifically he's developed this system. So what he's saying is that very much like this is not meant to be a get-rich-quick magic money printer, and I always appreciate when developers say that. I always say this too. Like I find it, like if you very clearly disclaim with trading robots that, hey, these are great opportunities to manage a portfolio, however, they're not magic money printers and you should kind of go in knowing that, you tend to attract really good customers and you tend to almost dissuade people who are maybe not ready to use trading bots. So it's always good to kind of lead with a disclaimer saying like, hey, this is what this is what it isn't, because you just attract the right type of people if you do that. And what we're seeing here is that there's no grid, no martingale. He's also saying that there's no AI. Once again, many bots in the MQL5 marketplace use fake AIs. So as developers, sometimes you want to simply say no AI to kind of differentiate yourself from those. But you absolutely can use AI in a totally legitimate way to make a trading robot. Brandon has done this many times. I've also done this in many of our bots. So you absolutely can do it. But unfortunately on the MQL5 marketplace, it simply is, it's more often fake than not. Here we can see that it's using a multi-entry breakout approach. So this makes sense. So pretty much, I think he's using a few different styles of actually getting into the trade. They're all based on breakouts, but I would venture that probably, here there's a few different levels and most likely the hold periods are different. And this is quite clever because in doing so, like WIM does a lot, where you have like a zone and you have many different orders being placed there and the actual trade management varies. And this kind of diversifies your equity curve a bit because let's say, for instance, you have a small like a pip of profit or like a little impulse once you hit a level, some of the trades might immediately close in profit. And even if you have a reversal where perhaps a few of the more like longer hold time ones would lose, the overall result should still be good. So it gives you a really interesting type of equity curve because you have that additional diversification. What he's seeing here is that each trade also has its own stop loss and trailing stop logic. So yes, the classic breakout system on gold almost always uses a trailing stop loss. And I've, like all of my bots use trailing stop losses because they just give you, not all, but the vast majority, because they give you such a good edge. Because sometimes you just have an additional spike, particularly when trading a volatile asset, and it gives you such a massive edge if you were to contrast this to, for instance, just using a fixed TP. Because it gives you that slightly higher risk reward, and over 10,000 trades or a few thousand trades, it makes a big difference. So what he's seeing here, what he's showing here as well, is that there are a few different settings which make it suitable for prop firms. Also, interestingly enough, prop firm gold EA, which was one of his prior gold bots, that was very much not a breakout system. That was almost like you go long at the beginning and then there's a second stop and reverse trade. So it's very much like this was quite unique. Whereas this system here, Gold Atlas, appears to be more in line with many other bots, but I think he's put his own kind of unique spin on it. So we can see if we look at the actual live signal, it is matching kind of the same shape as his backtest, right? Like this type of system is pretty characteristic of more of a high risk reward style bot because like we have these big oomph up and then a bunch of little losers. So that's kind of to be expected with this style of system, with those statistics. Now, if we look at the actual live signal, we can once again see that yes, there is a slightly below 50% win rate, but it has a very positive risk reward. So this is exactly to be expected, right? Like if you have a 2-to-1 or higher risk reward, you only need to be over 33% win rate to make money. And we're seeing that he is indeed significantly beating that. So looks good so far, using a good broker. There's a nice amount of trades here. So overall, it's definitely quite solid. Now, if we take the liberty of running a back test, we can see that it is very much matching what he says it's doing. it is very much a breakout system with different hold times. So like for instance, some of them close pretty quickly, some of them it waits a bit. Once again, kind of this is an example where it was a loser, but you can still see that like some of them closed in profit and then some of them closed in more of a loss, right? Because this is why, like, had this continued to trend like it did here, you would have had some big wins. But because it just quickly went up but then it went back down, it stopped out, ultimately some of them closed in profit while others closed in loss. So this is a good example of like why this style of system can add further diversification. And especially with gold, where you can have these big trends, it's not bad to have some trades or some positions where you just like let your winners run. You let them just keep going up and up and up and up, because then you can have some really good high risk reward trades. Let's now look at the actual statistics here. We're seeing a very modest drawdown, really good return over drawdown, so 50% annual return with a 7% drawdown, which is great. The win rate and the statistics are actually matching what we're seeing in the live signal. So we have around a 44% win rate and a roughly above 2-to-1 risk reward. So it's almost perfectly matching the live signal. So overall, this is a very classic style of system. It's similar to what some of the things that Wim has developed, but also he's kind of taken his own spin on it. So very much a good style of system. This type of trading strategy, like more of a breakout on gold, works really well. So I can absolutely see why this would be profitable. Jimmy's a good guy. I've heard nothing but good things about him. So this bot looks great. Like there's clearly a real strategy here. This strategy works great on gold. He's designed it really well. There's prop firm randomizers. So particularly at the current, like very, very affordable price, I doubt that you can go wrong buying this thing. So great job, Jimmy. Looks really good. And yeah, I think people will definitely like this one. So guys, leave me a comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.